Here's the latest installation of Ezekiel Kralen's story about the two dogs and lately legal troubles and so on. I Can't Afford Such Waste is the title. Ezekiel Kralen wrote, email correspondence March 30th to April 1st. Subject last Saturday, again a non-Deke report, date March 30th. As I was stepping back inside with my morning Java in hand, a USPS chap exited the gate just before I inserted the key, stopped me, and asked what apartment number I'm in. I said 205. So he replied, I'm the person who drops your packages at your door. And I said, oh, that's you? I always give you a high rating. Click on all the boxes. Well, thanks, he said, then departed. But what I found disturbing is that he seemed edgy, sweating a bit as if he were ready to explode in fury. Sparkly green eyes wide open like in fearful surprise. Handsome, though. Jet black wiry hair, nicely trimmed about the skull. Seductively arched eyebrows and a light stubble of beard across jaws and chin. Short in stature, maybe an inch less than me. And a tightly packed body to boot, or should I say to booty, a pirate treasure indeed. Arg. It was only a few weeks ago I noticed Amazon packages being dropped by residents' doors instead of in the lobby. So that's him doing it. I just don't like feeling my life may be on the line because a desperate underpaid worker may go berserk and he knows where I live. Hopefully I've bought some security by telling him I give good head, or ratings, and should he go off his nut sometime in the near future, my dump of a room may be the only unit spared from a USPS massacre. I also want to mention here, though not pertinent to Saturday or any other day per se, that our maintenance fellow Victor is especially friendly to me these days. I guess because of his new responsibility as quasi-manager, he appreciates me not being one of those cranky residents griping about this or that. Through this diabolical crisis, re Kevin's denouement, or it may be that without the manager present, he doesn't have to put up with his growing senility, which possibly includes an element of nastiness. For the past 2 months, every time our paths cross, which isn't often, maybe once or twice a week, he addresses me with more kindness than ever before. Though Kevin's back now, albeit not for long, I'm sure, so who knows what's coming down the pike for this castle in the Castro over the next few weeks or months, if the devil has his way. And that's that. Now on to Sunday's meet-up with Deke, coming up later tonight or tomorrow. Pleasant dreams, Watson. Subject, last Sunday's meet-up with Deke, date March 31st. He showed up with another new bicycle, this time with a sizable cart on wheels that replaced the bike's own rear wheel. He was proud to show off a thick shag rug for the dogs to rest upon while inside the cart. It was pristine ivory white, not a speck of dirt anywhere. However, at the moment the cart was already chock full of items, including his 35-pound boombox with the rug draped over everything like a corpulent specter from a haunted house. I also noticed the bike didn't have any pedals at the moment, so he's just walking around with it. Looks like a sturdy bike to me, I nonetheless remarked. Plenty of space for the pups when it's empty or even half empty. He then pointed at a set of pedals lying in the cart and asked if I had a wrench he could use to put them on. I told him, unfortunately, no, because he borrowed the only one I had last year and never returned it. He said, it's okay. Impressive, no backtalk, no hissy fit. There's a place called Bike Works that gives free access to their workshop once a month, just for the homeless, so he'll go there. I have no idea how many days he'll have to wait to do that, nor did it occur to me to suggest he purchase a spanner from the dollar store in the Mission, just several blocks away. But it did occur to me 2 days later to look up bicycle wrench on Amazon and purchase one. That is when I discovered a whole array of bicycle toolkits, one of which was affordably priced for my budget. It included a wrench among a slew of other handy tools. It just arrived yesterday, and I'm eager to present it to him, along with a small can of 3-in-1 oil that's been sitting in my room untouched for nigh over 30 years. Before leaving me with the mutts, he requested another advance payment, so I said, fine, but you only have $50 left for this month, so you have to wait 8 more days for your next allotment. Oh, I thought I'd get another $100, he remarked with a grin and a shrug. I offered to give him a breakdown of his outlay for the month, so he'd understand I'm not shortchanging him, but he politely declined with his thoughtful response, nah, that's okay. You do so much for me already. I'm sure you're right. I had another fine visit with the doggies, and he returned within 2.5 hours. "See, I wasn't gone too long," he said with a smile as I stood up to greet him, and the dog's so happy. Flacco started to climb on his lap before he was only halfway down to sitting beside the parking meter. Lucky, however, preferred to remain in the cool shade of the box, or rather, out of kind regard for his sister, he didn't compete to get on their master's lap first. The legendary trio departed shortly after Deke's return, and I was so glad for such a conflict-free meet-up both times that day. I was in my own heaven for the rest of the afternoon and into the night. Signed, Zeke K. Holmes. P.S. The San Francisco Bar Association is closed today because it's our Chavez holiday. That's why they didn't get back in touch with me yet. I found out by calling an hour before closing time only to get a recording, so I got to wait all the way till Monday. And the clock she is a-tickin'. Addendum. While he was talking about bike works and other bicycle-type things with refreshing enthusiasm, I interjected, "You're very industrious. I don't see how you do it, but that's just me." I figure a boost of positivity was a good thing to do at that moment, to keep him moving in the right direction. I guess he's my little brother. Subject, Addendum Dum Dum. Date, April 1. 1. That Sunday, when I took those cardboard box pictures, I had hurried back inside to use the restroom. Upon stepping out, the pups had exited the cool shade of their box and were barking up a storm at a tall elderly gentleman inserting coins into the parking meter. Since they were leashed to a post, they couldn't get any closer to him than 1 foot. I scooped them up and set them back in the box and said to the fellow, "Sorry about that." He chuckled in response, turned to me and said, "No, that's fine. I didn't see them there. Cute little dogs, by the way. So there you go, Watson, the difference between decent people and those who go out of their way to fuck with anyone every chance they get. Out of their way to fuck with anyone every chance they get, as the latter would have screamed at me and threatened to call the cops and have them taken away." 2. And last Wednesday, when I tossed 2 rags down to Deke to dry off the pups, and he had another hissy fit instead, the drama was worse than I described, for not only did he holler up at me to hurry the fuck up, but as I was drying off the pups myself, instead of rushing back upstairs to fix their meals, he grabbed his bike and cart, said he's leaving now, and began to walk away, with Flacco and Lucky leashed to the handlebars. I called back to him, "Come on, simmer down. The dogs are hungry, and I can feed them if you just cool your jets." He then turned around and marched in the other direction in a huff, and continued toward the bus stop, as if making to cross Noe Street, while I pleaded with him to at least let the mutts eat something. "But I'm not going to open the cans if you don't make it clear you'll still be out front when I bring down their meals. I can't afford such waste." The poor doggies, being pulled back and forth, not knowing what's going on, but looking up at their master and doing their very best to obey. Fortunately, Deke calmed down, moved back by the parking meter, and told me, "Okay, bring the food down. He'll be here." The rest of the meetup was friendly, and he departed 10 minutes later in a better mood. Well, that was disappointing. Deke and pups showed up again just when I finished the piece above. As soon as I handed him my gift, he said, "What's this? It better be nothing stupid or I don't want it." "Just open it," I said, while crouched down to greet the mutts. But when he opened it, in the case that contained the items, he said, "Bicycle tools. I don't need this. I'll probably just sell it." "Well, you asked me for a wrench, so I thought you could use it," I replied. "Thanks anyway," he muttered, "but it sure feels like a long time before my next payment. You only gave me $50. "That's because when it comes to money, 8 days is a long time for you," I retorted. "Only 2 days now for your next payment." I then explained to him I base his allowance on $50 twice per week, even though I allot him a full $100 each week with occasional exception. But since there was an extra Thursday last month, you got an extra $50, but this coming Sunday spills over into April. So this Monday, on the 3rd, you get $100, which includes payment for Thursday as well. And remember, I gave you a whopping $100 twice in the same week, so that threw things off. "So how much did this toolkit cost you?" He queried. $20, I replied, wondering if he's going to squawk something like, "I thought you had no money left for this month," for which I would say I can hold payment up to a week. But that didn't happen. "Oh, I was hoping for a new speaker or a battery charge or something like that," he griped as he walked off with the pups. Rather than enter my building right away, I watched as they moved toward the corner. Flacco looked back at me with great yearning to be with me longer. Just before I entered the gate, Deke waved at me and said thank you. When I returned upstairs, I decided to check if he had just turned the corner up 16th Street instead of crossing. Yep, he was out there behind my building, where another transient was hanging out and looking through his new toolkit more closely. Hopefully he'll keep it rather than sell or trade it. At any rate, I returned home to compose this final part of my missive. But before sending it off to you, I went down to the hallway window again to see if he was still there. Nope, all gone. So I returned to finally post this email, but just before I did, I heard him call up to my window once again, "I need a bungee cord." I only had 4 left, but not knowing what length he required, I brought them all out, and he took 3. At least I had a chance to embrace and pet my Brindlekin again for one delightful minute. It was sad he didn't show some kindness to just spend 10 or so minutes with me to bring the pups water and enjoy their company, and maybe actually share his thoughts or recent adventures. In conclusion, were I a self-centered asshat, I'd sure be feeling sorry for myself these days, but I'm not. I am a trooper who forges on with a strong will and cheer in his heart, the fool in life's deck of cards.